And Micah, tonight was a special board meeting because business has not gotten done at 2 previous meetings. So that's some progress there. But this meeting was not without its fair share of tension.
Now she's teasing a big announcement that she claims will result in some of her opponents being arrested and charged.
Drama seems to follow Mayor Tiffany Henyard wherever she goes in Dolton, Illinois. From her lavish spending to fiery clashes with local trustees, she's become a lightning rod for controversy. Despite the scandals, Henyard is resolute in maintaining her authority and refuses to back down. Today we're diving into the chaotic world of Dolton politics, where Henyard is seen as both a hero by some and a villain by many, her actions igniting fierce debate across the small town.
There is a new legal battle brewing in Dalton between the mayor and some village trustees.
As Regina Waldrop explains, it has a lot to do with 2 meetings held earlier this.
Tiffany Henyard, the self-proclaimed super mayor of Dolton, is convinced she's destined to lead the town to greatness, no matter what anyone else thinks. At a recent board meeting, she celebrated her survival with a victory dance, strutting around as if she'd won a grand prize while her critics fumed. Despite the fact that she was voted out of office, a twist worthy of a soap opera saved her. A judge dismissed the recall on a technicality, allowing her to keep her position. For Henyard, every setback is just another opportunity to claim victory. But her controversial actions, combined with her tendency to bend the truth, have made her a habitual liar in the eyes of many. While some cheer her confidence, others see her as a symbol of political manipulation.
Arrests for individuals involved. I will be pressing charges.
The recall effort against Tiffany Henyard wasn't just about her ego, it was also a response to her questionable leadership. Accused of using Dolton's public funds as her personal piggy bank, the allegations against her have been growing. A special investigation led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot uncovered alarming financial discrepancies. Under Henyard's direction, Dolton's general fund plummeted from a healthy $61 million in 2022 to a staggering deficit of over $36.5 million by May 2024. The big question now: where did all that money go? It's a mystery that has many asking, and the answers could have serious consequences for Henyard's future in office.
Leased to Mayor Tiffany Henyard has filed eviction papers. She says Henyard has not paid her rent, and now she wants.
Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dolton, Illinois, has been nothing short of controversial, with the latest scandal revealing some astonishing financial mismanagement. It's not just her ego that has sparked a recall effort, it's her leadership, or lack thereof, which has raised serious concerns among residents and officials alike. A recent investigation, led by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, uncovered startling details about Henyard's spending habits. The report revealed that Dolton's general fund, which had a healthy $61 million in 2022, had been drained to a deficit of over $36.5 million by May 2024. The question everyone is asking is, where did all that money go? The answer, it seems, lies in a series of extravagant expenditures that would shock even the most seasoned government watchdogs. One Amazon purchase alone totaled more than $43,000, with the village credit cards being used for other high-ticket items at stores like Amazon, Target, and Wayfair. Yes, you read that correctly, $43,000 spent in a single day on Amazon. Henyard has yet to provide a satisfactory explanation for this, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. Henyard's spending spree didn't stop at online shopping. Tiffany and her team reportedly spent over $999,000 on luxurious accommodations at upscale hotels, including the Four Seasons in Atlanta. For the residents of Dolton, many of whom struggle to make ends meet, the sight of their mayor living it up at taxpayer expense is infuriating. Local resident Andrea McKay summed up the sentiment when she told the media, "I'm devastated that this woman came into our town, spent all of our tax money, and now we have senior citizens who can't even afford basic necessities." Former trustee Valeria Stubbs was even more blunt, stating that Henyard should be imprisoned and held accountable for her actions, which she described as unacceptable and a betrayal of the people she was elected to serve. But the controversy surrounding Tiffany Henyard isn't just about her spending. Her leadership style has also been heavily criticized. She's been accused of using village resources to bolster her own political image, including claims from a former police chief that Henyard had officers issue tickets to her political opponents. Henyard has also been criticized for plastering her face on billboards throughout the town, treating Dolton's police force as her personal security detail. This behavior has raised concerns that Dolton is beginning to resemble something out of a political thriller, rather than a town run by accountable public servants. The problems don't stop there. Henyard's mismanagement extended to the police department as well. Some officers were earning more in overtime than they did in base salaries. One officer made $887,000 in fiscal year 2024, with an additional $114,800 in overtime. Another officer, with a base salary of $73,000, earned over $112,000 in overtime, more than double their regular pay. With such astronomical overtime expenses, It's no wonder the village is in financial turmoil. Despite the mounting evidence of financial mismanagement and the ongoing federal investigation into her spending, Tiffany Henyard remains unflinching. At a recent board meeting, she retaliated against her critics, saying, "You all forget. I'm the leader. They want to hear from the mayor." Her frustration was clear as she dismissed the board's objections to her spending habits. But the trustees aren't backing down either. In addition to the federal inquiry, trustee Jason House has been outspoken about his mistrust of Henyard's financial decisions, warning that even if the board approves payments, vendors aren't getting paid. It's a disaster, House said, echoing the concerns of many residents. Henyard's supporters have attempted to downplay the investigation, but the situation is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore, as the FBI reportedly investigates her spending while serving as both mayor and supervisor of Thornton Township. Questions about potential financial mismanagement grow louder. Despite everything, Henyard continues to assert that she has done nothing wrong, claiming that every action she has taken is for the benefit of Dolton's residents. As the controversy deepens and calls for accountability grow, the people of Dolton are left to wonder, will Tiffany Henyard ever face the consequences of her actions, or will she continue to hold on to power, defying the will of those she was elected to serve? Only time will tell.
Pretty firm. We made sure they had ones, and we also told our board to come upstairs due to the fact they had several ways to exit.
Despite Tiffany Henyard's claims that she's done nothing wrong, public opinion is increasingly turning against her. Once loyal supporters are now questioning her actions, with many seeing through her political rhetoric. One online commenter even joked, "I hope her daughter isn't inheriting her mother's negative traits and behaviors." As if the political drama wasn't enough, Henyard's personal life has also become a public spectacle. The mayor, who pulls in nearly $300,000 from her 2 political roles, is facing legal trouble over unpaid rent. According to landlord Janetta Hull, Henyard and her boyfriend, Kamal Woods, have failed to pay rent since August, racking up over $5,000 in back rent. Hull alleges that the couple even changed the locks to keep her out. Now, Hull was attempting to evict them, but the couple has managed to avoid receiving the official eviction notice. The situation has only added to Henyard's growing list of controversies, further damaging her reputation.
Landlord showed up here to see her tenant in person after she says Henyard has been dodging both her and rent payments for months.
Imagine a town's mayor earning hundreds of thousands of dollars while refusing to pay rent and essentially living in someone else's house. It's a baffling turn of events that has many in Dolton scratching their heads. As a public official, you'd expect the mayor to set an example of civic responsibility, but that's not the case with Tiffany Henyard. Janetta Hull, who once considered Tiffany a friend, now regrets ever renting to her. The situation has only fueled frustration among Dolton residents who have watched their town spiral into debt. With water main breaks, layoffs, and a shrinking police presence, many feel that Henyard has been living a life of luxury while they struggle. You don't see that with these people, Hull said. They just feel like they can do whatever they want. It's no wonder that calls for her resignation are growing louder.
Board meeting this evening. That meeting was being held at the Park District building since Village Hall cannot legally accommodate the crowd.
Despite the growing controversies surrounding her leadership, accusations of financial mismanagement, and ongoing investigations, Mayor Tiffany Henyard has managed to retain a surprising degree of loyalty from certain residents of Dolton. These supporters view her as a unique leader focused on the town's future, with a bold, unconventional approach that they believe is necessary to lift Dolton out of years of stagnation and obscurity. In their eyes, Henyard's high-profile spending and ambitious decisions are part of a larger strategy to draw attention to the town's potential, positioning Dolton as a place worth noticing, especially when compared to its past lack of recognition. For Henyard's defenders, her sometimes extravagant investments are not seen as missteps, but as calculated moves in her ambitious quest to bring prosperity to Dolton. Yeah, she spends money, one loyal resident said during a public forum, but at least we're getting noticed now. These supporters argue that Henyard's bold actions, however controversial, have put Dolton on the map, bringing the town visibility it never had before. In their view, her leadership is about making Dolton relevant again, even if it means pushing boundaries, making unpopular choices, or weathering public criticism. However, this view of Henyard's leadership is far from universally accepted. As her spending habits have come under increasing scrutiny, a growing number of residents and officials are questioning whether her actions are reckless rather than visionary. Critics argue that her financial decisions lack the necessary accountability and transparency, pointing to her history of lavish travel, expensive purchases, and extravagant use of public funds. These critics contend that Henyard's high-profile expenditures have only deepened Dolton's financial woes, leaving the town burdened with millions of dollars in debt. For these detractors, Henyard's leadership appears more focused on self-promotion than on genuine economic development. They argue that her approach lacks foresight and responsible fiscal planning, offering little tangible benefit to the residents of Dolton who ultimately bear the financial burden of her costly public persona. Rather than lifting the town, they believe Henyard's strategy prioritizes her own image and status, undermining the community's welfare and stability in the process. Interestingly, even as Henyard's critics grow more vocal, her defiance has only intensified. Far from backing down, she has doubled down on her decision-making, presenting herself as a strong leader who is standing firm against opposition for the greater good of Dolton. In her public statements and appearances, Henyard often frames her critics as people who are unwilling to accept a powerful black woman in a position of leadership. She has explicitly suggested that much of the backlash she faces is rooted in personal prejudice, rather than legitimate concerns about her policies or the town's welfare. During council meetings, Henyard has passionately called out those who challenge her, accusing them of unfairly targeting her due to her race and gender, rather than engaging with her actual policies. In her view, the scrutiny and criticism she faces are not truly about Dolton's future or her leadership abilities, but are part of a broader societal issue. I am being attacked because of who I am, Henyard has said, implying that her critics are motivated by personal biases rather than genuine concern for the town's finances or well-being. This shift in narrative has only deepened the divide between Henyard's supporters and her critics. Her advocates point to her race and gender as factors that have fueled much of the negative attention she's received, believing that her critics are motivated by a refusal to accept a woman of color in a position of power. On the other hand, her critics argue that the real issue is not her identity, but her questionable spending and financial decisions, which they claim will ultimately harm Dolton's economic future. As the rift grows, the debate over Henyard's leadership becomes even more polarized. Her supporters continue to defend her vision, seeing her bold choices as necessary to make Dolton stand out and succeed. Meanwhile, her critics argue that her reckless spending and lack of fiscal responsibility will only bring long-term harm to the town's finances, and that it's only a matter of time before the consequences catch up with Dolton's residents. For those who oppose her, Henyard's high-profile expenditures seem less about civic progress and more about personal showmanship, with her public image taking precedence over sustainable, meaningful improvements for Dolton. In the end, the question remains: will Henyard's boldness pay off, or will the financial strain caused by her leadership leave Dolton in even worse shape than before? The answer may depend on who you ask, and whether the town can find a way forward that doesn't sacrifice its financial stability for the sake of personal ambition. As Dolton approaches its upcoming election, the debate over Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership, whether it's a vision of genuine progress or self-serving theatrics, will take center stage. Henyard's announcement to seek re-election has raised the stakes for both her supporters and detractors. For her loyalists, this campaign is an opportunity to ensure the town's continued prominence, believing Henyard's bold style will lead Dolton toward a brighter future. On the other hand, her critics worry that another term under Henyard would exacerbate the town's financial struggles and potentially erode public trust in local government beyond repair. For those opposed to Henyard, her re-election bid represents a continuation of what they view as policies that threaten the town's stability and prosperity. They argue that her controversial spending habits and lack of transparency have already put Dolton on an unsustainable path, and a second term could be disastrous. As the town heads into election season, the outcome of Henyard's campaign will be a test of whether Dolton's residents see her leadership as a necessary force for change or as a reckless overreach. Henyard's campaign has kicked off with her usual flair and confidence. In a Facebook post that was as bold as her leadership style, she declared, "I am running for re-election as mayor of Dolton," leaving little room for ambiguity about her intentions. The statement was not just an announcement, but a direct challenge to her critics, suggesting that anyone who opposes her vision for the town will have to defeat her at the ballot box. Despite the significant opposition she's faced during her first term, which has been marred by accusations of financial mismanagement, Henyard appears undeterred. She remains defiant, positioning herself as the leader who can move Dolton forward, even if her approach has been controversial. However, Henyard's opponents are equally determined to bring change to Dolton's leadership. One of her most vocal critics, trustee Jason House, has announced his candidacy for mayor, signaling his intention to challenge Henyard head-on. House has been an outspoken opponent of Henyard's policies, frequently highlighting what he views as failures in her leadership, particularly regarding the town's financial troubles. He has accused her of bringing chaos to Dolton's governance, and he believes that the town deserves better than what Henyard has offered. House is running as part of a slate of candidates known as Clean House *, a coalition of challengers who are focused on restoring order and accountability to the village. The group's name and campaign slogan make their intentions clear: to combat what they see as Henyard's mismanagement and to bring transparency, responsible spending, and a renewed sense of civic duty to Dolton. They argue that Dolton's residents have been burdened by Henyard's lavish spending and lack of financial oversight, and they are committed to reversing the damage they believe her administration has caused. As the election draws near, it's clear that the race between Henyard and House and their respective supporters will be a pivotal moment for the community. The election is shaping up to be a battle over the direction of Dolton's future, with Henyard's bold, high-profile approach clashing with the Clean House candidates' promises of fiscal responsibility and accountability. The question remains: Will Dalton's residents choose to continue with Henyard's leadership, or will they opt for a new vision that prioritizes stability and transparency over spectacle? The answer will define the future of Dalton for years to come. As Dalton prepares for its upcoming election, the town finds itself at a critical crossroads, with the debate over Mayor Tiffany Henyard's leadership taking center stage. Henyard's tenure has been marked by bold, often controversial decisions, leaving residents divided over whether her leadership is a vision of progress or a self-serving spectacle. With Henyard announcing her intention to seek re-election, the stakes have been raised, and both her supporters and opponents are rallying for what they see as the future of the town. For Henyard's loyalists, her re-election campaign represents a chance to continue the momentum she's created, positioning Dalton for growth and attention. They believe her high-profile leadership style, which includes extravagant spending and bold decisions, is exactly what the town needs to escape years of stagnation and obscurity. In their eyes, Henyard's controversial investments are not missteps but strategic moves designed to draw attention, attract investment, and ultimately put Dalton on the map. One of Henyard's supporters recently defended her actions at a public meeting, arguing that while her decisions may not be popular, they're the necessary steps to ensure Dalton's future. She's the only one who understands the challenges facing this town, the resident said. Her approach is bold, but it's the only chance we've got. However, Henyard's critics are equally vocal and determined to challenge her vision for Dalton's future. They argue that her approach has created more chaos than progress, pointing to questionable spending decisions and a lack of fiscal responsibility as the root of Dalton's financial troubles. The controversy surrounding Henyard has only intensified in recent months, with accusations of financial mismanagement and reckless spending on non-essential expenses. Her lavish travel, opulent lodging, and high-profile purchases have drawn the ire of many residents, who see these actions as a waste of taxpayer money. For these critics, Henyard's leadership style is a symptom of a larger issue in Dalton, a lack of accountability and a failure to prioritize the needs of the community. Trustee Jason House, one of Henyard's most vocal opponents, has declared his candidacy for mayor. Positioning himself as the alternative to her controversial administration, House and his slate of candidates, known as *Clean House*, are campaigning on a platform of fiscal responsibility, transparency, and a return to traditional governance values. They believe Dalton deserves leaders who prioritize stability and accountability, not the theatrics and high-profile spending that have defined Henyard's time in office. House and his team argue that Henyard's style is unsustainable, and they believe the financial strain caused by her administration will have long-lasting consequences for the town. "We need to restore order," House said in a recent statement, "and bring accountability back to Dalton. The residents deserve better." His campaign is focused on issues like reducing wasteful spending, increasing transparency in local government, and ensuring that Dalton's finances are managed responsibly. The *Clean House* coalition sees Henyard's leadership as part of the problem, not the solution, and they believe it's time for a change. This election, then, is more than just a battle of policy differences. It's a reflection of the frustration that has been brewing in Dalton over the past few years. Henyard's supporters argue that she is the only one who can bring the town the attention it deserves and push it toward growth, while her critics believe that her time in office has done more harm than good. Henyard's re-election bid comes as she doubles down on her defiant leadership style, maintaining that her bold approach is necessary to put Dalton on the map. She has frequently argued that her spending, while controversial, is part of a larger strategy to revitalize the town and attract the investment it needs. Henyard has framed herself as a leader who is willing to take risks, make difficult decisions, and challenge the status quo. But as her campaign gains momentum, it has become clear that the battle lines are sharply drawn between Henyard and her opponents. While Henyard's supporters praise her audacity and willingness to push boundaries, her critics see those same traits as reckless and irresponsible. The mounting criticisms against her focus on her lack of fiscal accountability and her tendency to prioritize her public image over the town's well-being. Critics argue that Henyard's approach is more about self-promotion than about creating meaningful, sustainable change for Dalton. Her supporters, however, continue to defend her, emphasizing that her leadership style is not about personal gain but about positioning Dalton for a brighter future. They believe that her willingness to disrupt the status quo is what the town needs to rise above its challenges. "She's the only one who's willing to make the tough decisions," one supporter said. Other politicians play it safe, but Tiffany's taking Dalton to the next level. In contrast, House and his team are campaigning on a platform of restoring stability and accountability to Dalton. They aim to dispel the controversies that have clouded Henyard's administration and emphasize the importance of transparent leadership. Dalton needs leaders who focus on the community's needs, not their own public persona, House said. His message seems to be resonating with many residents who are tired of the drama and scandal that have characterized Henyard's time in office. As Election Day approaches, the stakes couldn't be higher. Henyard's supporters argue that she understands the needs of Dalton better than anyone, and that her bold decisions are necessary to secure the town's future. They believe that her high-profile spending and controversial approach are investments in Dalton's potential. On the other hand, her critics believe that Dalton cannot afford another term of mismanagement and financial instability, and they hope to see a return to responsible leadership with House at the helm. This election is about more than just choosing a mayor. It's about deciding the direction Dalton will take. Will residents continue to support Henyard and her bold vision, or will they decide that it's time to turn the page and embrace a new direction with House and his team? As the town faces a choice between two vastly different leadership styles, it remains to be seen whether Henyard's supporters can rally behind her vision for the future, or if the mounting criticism of her leadership will ultimately push Dalton toward change. For Dalton's residents, the election is a pivotal moment, a test of whether they believe in Henyard's controversial approach to governance or whether they feel it's time to put their trust in a new team. Only time will tell which path the community will choose. One thing is certain: this election will shape the future of Dalton for years to come.